Good afternoon and welcome to today's debate. The 2008 elections consist of many significant issues other than the problems of the country. Throughout the debate, we hope to educate you on the issues of presidential image as well as fundraising. While it is important to be informed of the candidate's opinion on relevant issues, it is just as important to be educated on the external factors of the nomination process. The first statement we will hear today is, resolved, a candidate's physical image should not affect the election outcome. Okay, debaters, you may begin.
A candidate's physical image should definitely be one of the main factors in determining a presidential election. With this election being dubbed as one of the most important in history, all factors should be looked at when determining who's the best fit for president. John McCain, the presumed presidential Republican nominee, is currently 71 years old. At the time of his inauguration, if elected, he will be 72. This will make him the oldest person ever sworn into office. The closest, Ronald Reagan, was 69 years old when he became the 40th President of the United States. While he was a great president, he did suffer from Alzheimer's disease towards the end of his term. That's not to say McCain will suffer from Alzheimer's, but that is definitely a possibility. That leads me to my next point. The vice president is not chosen by the voters. The presidential candidate is chosen by the presidential candidate. This makes McCain's selection of a vice president even more important. The people of America are going to want a strong vice president in the event that something did happen to John McCain. The responsibility that comes along with being the president of the United States, as we all know, is rather extensive. It's a job that goes from early in the morning to late at night. This taxes the mind and body of the person who takes on this responsibility. Will a 72-year-old former prisoner of war for 5.5 years be able to handle this? That's something the voters need to ask themselves.
Society today places a great deal of emphasis on the physical appearance on individuals. Whether it be race, gender, age, or purely attractiveness, outer image has a large influence on how the individual is viewed by the public. While ordinary people are faced with the pressure from the public to achieve an ideal image, presidential candidates are also among these societal pressures. Although people do formulate an opinion of a candidate based on their image, I am here today to argue that image should by no means affect a candidate's nomination. When it comes to personal characteristics and diversity, the 2008 presidential race has covered a lot of ground. According to an article defining images of presidential candidates from televised political spot advertisements, Shiles explains that not only does image influence visual likeness of the candidate, but it also affects the candidate's ethos. While this is true when dealing with the candidate's professional attire or poise, when it comes to external factors that are uncontrollable, such as age or race, the candidate's credibility or ability to run the country should not be called into question. The citizens of America have repeatedly questioned if we are ready for a black or female president, or is age 72 too old to successfully run this country. In a March NBC poll, respondents were asked if they think America is prepared to elect an otherwise qualified candidate who happens to have certain characteristics. 72% of Americans, for example, said the country is prepared to elect an African American president, and 71% said we were also ready for a woman president. But when asked about a candidate over the age of 70, the number dropped to 61%. Citizens of America, I am here to tell you to stop questioning the candidate's ability purely based on characteristics such as age. The only instance where age could affect the candidacy would be if physical or mental health is impaired. If an issue like this should arise, the United States Constitution includes the 25th Amendment to ensure our country sustains a suitable leader. Although John McCain is 72 years old, he has a long family history of military experience, and he is just as qualified as any other candidate. On Election Day, it is most important to consider the qualifications of the candidate to ensure that our country is in the best hands. When November comes, remember John McCain as the Republican candidate for the United States presidency, not a 72-year-old man.
My opponent brings up very good points in her arguments, but image is a reflection of other factors in an individual's life, and one of the most important things I feel that we need as Americans is the image of a strong leader. Presidents have gone so far as to protect that image, such as Franklin FDR when he was in a wheelchair, he tried to let that not be known to the American people. If people are going to go to those kinds of lengths to protect their image, then image should definitely be one of the main factors in determining who the President of the United States should be.
My opponent has argued that physical image, more specifically age, should be considered a factor when electing a candidate for the presidential office. However, physical image has absolutely no role in determining the abilities of an individual. In a presidential election, physical image should have no bearing on deciding the next president. The dependence on physical appearance in presidential elections could eventually lead to an almost completely looks-driven election where the most important political issues are pushed aside. People will begin focusing on the candidate's physical characteristics rather than his or her opinion on the relevant problems of this country. What really matters in a candidate is their competent ability to fulfill the duties of the President of the United States. If the American public keeps placing so much emphasis on physical characteristics, there will be no way to ensure that the best possible candidate is to assume office of the President. The best possible candidate is the one with the most qualified knowledge and abilities, not the one with the most favorable image. Thank you.
Thank you.